Welcome to the first episode, what will be the first episode of the Canadian Boxing Hub. Gonna pump out as much content here as possible. For now, no video of me. Not into that yet. If there's demand for that in the future, I guess things are going well, and maybe we'll do that then. But for now, you can look at this glorious thumbnail of Canadian boxing great George Javallo against Muhammad Ali, the the best of anywhere. I think that's their first fight there. Legendary stuff. So for now, enjoy that. And yeah, what you can expect here is I'm going to be talking about, world boxing news. It's a fantastic time to be a fan, obviously, with everything going off in the world. And hopefully that bleeds into Canada. We don't see as much here as we would like to. There is some things coming with seemingly, DAZN, some shows coming to Canada, which is fantastic news for all fans and all boxers. Love to see it. But, as well as Canadian content, we're going to be talking about the biggest in world boxing, which is, of course, right now, what is coming up over in Riyadh this February 22nd. Less than a week away now, and boy, it's going to be good. So let's get into that first and take it from there. February 22nd, what can only be described as the biggest card ever, certainly in my viewing time as a boxing fan. Cards like these 5-10 years ago seemed honestly unbelievable. I think when we started seeing the Saudis coming in, thought there might be a one-off, but honestly, because the Battle of the Baddest was the first kind of installment with Riyadh. Of course, Anthony Joshua and others had been over to Saudi Arabia before, but without kind of Turki Al-Sheikh taking the reins, we just weren't seeing the depth of cards like this. It was just unbelievable. And the first installment was Battle of the Baddest. So, we had Francis Ngannou, an MMA fighter, making his boxing debut against Tyson Fury. I thought these might be kind of more eccentric cards, but now we've got just the absolute best of the best, undisputed fights on a semi-frequent basis now, which is just unheard of. And not only do we have undisputed fights, we've got championship depth all the way down these cards. Like this February 22nd card, we've got Callum Smith in the first fight. Former world champion against Joshua Buatsi, an Olympian. Just unbelievable. I'm going to run through some of these fights, quickly give what my gut feeling is on the outcome. By no means is this me rooting for these individuals to win. This is just, looking at these at a glance, who do I think is going to come out? And you let me know what you think. I think in the Buatsi-Smith fight, it's going to be Smith. I actually think he might win by stoppage here, which, I honestly haven't seen as much chatter about this fight, people predicting, but I do think people are seeing Buatsi as a younger fighter coming through, that maybe this is the right time for him, but I kind of think that Callum Smith might be all wrong for him. Let me know what you think. And we've got Zhang Kabayel, and this one is the true definition of a 50-50. Differing, styles and kind of strengths of these two. Zhang, just the unbelievable power, really, nifty boxer, really cute, for a man who's like honestly a giant. There are heavyweights and then there are the freaks, and Zhili Zhang falls into the freak category. He is humongous. And I think that's really going to show in the ring with Kabayel, who, is a smaller heavyweight by today's standards. But I do think with the blueprint that Joseph Parker laid, and with what a slick boxer Kabayel is, I do think the foot speed, the hand speed, the stamina, and seeing how a fighter like him can beat Zhang. I do expect Caballel to win by points. I've seen a few others out there saying that. I think that's what Gareth A. Davies, as well as a few others, are kind of predicting and saying on the channels. But in my gut, that's just kind of what I see it being, a points decision. But Caballel's got to go through it. Zhang can bang. Probably a top 2 puncher in the heavyweight division. It's got to be Dubois and him, arguable as to who's 1 and who's 2. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think one of the only fights on here where I am expecting a cleaner outcome, maybe a more lopsided matchup, is Adames versus Shiraz. I really do think Hamza Shiraz is going to be world elite. I think he's on a good trajectory right now. He's just freakishly large and long for the weight, and still manages to look fresh with these weight cuts. And I just expect him to kind of run through this one. I do see that being a stoppage. Ortiz Madrimov. Again, this is unbelievable matchmaking. To have this so far down the card is unbelievable. This headlines, all over the United States. I think Madrimov is all wrong at this point. And at this size, he's big at the weight. And with Ortiz, I think there's going to be a size discrepancy in there. I do see Madrimov winning this one on points, but I could be totally wrong. This is going to be an interesting one. All of them are. I mean, what a card. Like, that I'm 4 or 5 fights into this card, and all of them have just been unbelievable. I mean, it's going to be a treat. Now, Shakur Stevenson, maybe this is similar to the Shiraz-Adames matchup. I do see Stevenson winning this one somewhat comfortably. I know he's going to be running from, the reputation of a bit of a boring fighter. We just saw Jack Catterall versus Barboza, and, it's for a certain type of viewer. Very technical, but, a far cry from Derek Chisora, throwing bombs and getting people off their seats. So I do think Stevenson is going to maybe try to put it on Schofield, but ultimately I do see this being a points win, and maybe quite comfortable for Stevenson. Then we got the big 2 fights. Dubois Parker is unbelievable. You can't say anything bad about either of these 2 guys in terms of have gloves, will fight. They will have it with absolutely anybody, and you gotta love it. And I think it's really shown that, with the Saudi money coming in, these 2 guys are the epitome of running with their opportunities. They're willing to fight anybody put in front of them, and are seizing the day, let's say. It's a shame that Parker's been out since, I think, last March. He was on a good run of form, so I do think that he's going to be in unbelievable shape, maybe career best shape. Seeing some of the footage, some of the pictures of him, he does look in unbelievable shape, and if it's true what they're saying, which is that, he's got better cardio, better numbers at this new weight, and brings up a little bit more power, he could be destructive, could be a different Joseph Parker. I do think that experience is going to be a factor. I do think that he could be all wrong style-wise for Daniel Dubois. We can't say anything bad about Dubois. He's on a run of form of stopping guys when he's the underdog and doing it in incredible fashion. Miller, Hrgovic, Joshua, and this off of the back of a loss against Usyk. This run of form after the allegations again of kind of being a quitter, to bounce back and show this kind of resilience. You can't say anything bad about Dubois. I do have a gut feeling that this is Parker's fight to lose. I don't know why. I think there's going to be a style clash, and I think Parker could be all wrong for Dubois, which is an interesting dynamic. Both of these guys lost to Joyce in very different fights. How are their styles going to clash? I think it's going to be entertaining. I can say that. Both guys might hit the deck, but I do have a gut feeling this is going to be a Parker points win. Maybe not the finish everyone is expecting, but I just don't see either of these guys quitting in this one. And I don't know. They've both got heavyweight power, but I've got a weird feeling this one's going to see points. And then we've got Beterbiev Bivol, and honestly on this one, I'm simply flipping a coin. I think for the narrative, it would be cool to see Bivol edge it, although I think it's going to be similar case to the first fight, where it's flip a coin, who won that fight. Each round is so close, so much discrepancy could be made up for who's scoring what round to what guy. I think they're separated by absolutely nothing, although they're different types of fighters. They're both just unbelievable at what they do. I think we might see a Bivol points win this time, and it sets up, the biggest trilogy, pure boxing-wise. It's hard to compare, just the level of greatness. Both of these guys, I think, are the only guys who can beat the other guy. Credit to both of them, and 3-4 fights, whatever it ends up being between these guys, sign me up. It's just boxing at its absolute finest. So that's February 22nd, and we do have more coming up, but I rambled for a good amount of time, so we'll call that for episode 1. I will be back shortly because we have big news, particularly for Canada, in terms of Matchroom coming and putting on a card here that will be on DAZN February 28th in Quebec. Fantastic news for Canadian boxing fans and Canadian boxers especially, who maybe you'll start seeing some more consistent shows, some better money on the table, some better exposure now that everyone's fighting on DAZN. Fantastic for viewers to be able to find this content all in one place. Watch your Riyadh season shows in the same app that we can see a show in Quebec and hopefully elsewhere. So great news, but we'll be back talking about that likely next week in the wake of what goes down over in Saudi Arabia with this colossal card. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you will share, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Help get me off the ground here. And we'll come back and we'll talk some boxing, and we'll see where this goes. But thanks for watching. If you took the time to listen all the way to the end, let me know where you're from, where you're listening in from, and how you liked it. But let me know, what should we be talking about? Are there any big fights going down, any guys to watch? Let me know in the comments. Shoot me a message. We'll talk to you next time.